Jestem artystą. Artyści to są podejrzane osoby. Trzeba na nich uważać. Mogę przyjść i poprosić, żebyś mi opowiedział swoje życiowe historie. Potem obradnę ci tę historię. Coś się nie zrobię, nie dam ci nic w zamian. Polecę sobie dalej i stanę się sławny. Artysta jak ja ma nowy, inteligentny telefon, fantastyczne buty i ubrania oraz nowy MacBook Pro. Potrafię dotrzeć się do miejsc takich jak Bobrek, zanurzyć w historię, w necie i problemach, a potem przekształcić je w produkt, który uczestni niezłamnym, równocześnie sprawia, byś uwierzył, że zależy mi na tobie. Potrzebuję się, żebyś tam siedział. Potrzebuję, żebyś tam siedział, bo potrzebuję do kogoś mówić. Potrzebuję siebie, na przebić mnie. I'm an artist. Artists are suspicious people. You should be careful with the artists. I can come and ask you to tell me your life story. Then I steal your story, make something out of it, and I will not give you a credit. I will fly away and become famous. Artists like me has a new smartphone, fancy shoes, designer clothes, and new MacBook Pro. I have skills to go places like Bobrek in Poland, immerse in the stories, misery and troubles, and convert them into a product which will make me famous. At the same time, I make you believe that I care about you. I need you. I need you sitting there. I need you something to talk to. I need you sitting there. Artists are suspicious. They are intellectuals. But intellectuals take train, intellectuals take a bus, intellectuals go to Cuba, intellectuals shop a poem, intellectuals shop at Aldi, intellectuals drive a car to Katowice, intellectuals go to Africa, intellectuals have problems, intellectuals arrive to Bytom, intellectuals stay in Bytom, intellectuals leave Bytom, intellectuals do something else, intellectuals make lions, intellectuals are lions, intellectuals hate lions, intellectuals do nothing, intellectuals don't have money, intellectuals are filthy rich, intellectuals can't afford to be artists anymore, but they can still be intellectuals. Intellectuals are waiting, waiting, waiting. Why Poland? 1994, Tuula Pentti has dark black hair. Janusz Bijewski teaches children. Jan Berlichak dresses in black and has a jet black hair. Marcin Berlichak is the son of Jan Berlichak, and he teaches art for prisoners. Jaroslav Kozlovsky chain smokes in his studios, but students can't stand it. Alexander Shasha Komarov makes works out of lace. Monika Sosnowska is a young girl and has a short hair. Piotr Komarnitsky lives in Szczecin and sings Voyage, Voyage. Renata Zhayu has a chestnut long hair. Mark Maximovich teaches me how to make kif out of hemp. Tina Ward becomes my wife. (1996), Tomasz Rama. I meet him in a train from Warsaw to Tallinn, which doesn't go anymore. And he's very nervous because he's going to Finland first time to meet his girlfriend, and I'm the second Finnish person he meets. (1999–2000), Amsterdam. Jaroslav Kozlovsky doesn't smoke cigarettes in Amsterdam. Alexander Shasha Komarov becomes famous in Amsterdam. Monika Sosnowska becomes famous in Amsterdam. Rada Shayun disappears in Amsterdam. In 2004, I divorce and I meet Karolina Kutša in Estonia. And we start making performances together in a group called Kukkia Flowers. 2008, Tomasz Rama. I meet him again in Finland with his wife and his great Polish dog. Marek Plucienik is a friend of Tomasz, and he makes experimental video art, and he's from Canada. 2009, I start working with Marek. 2009, I start working with Marcin Berżak in Poznan with my students, and we have wild parties. 2010, I meet Alexandra Jach in Helsinki. She's a curator. 2010, I meet Stanisław Ruksha in Bytom, in Kronika, and we immediately become friends. 2012, I start working in Bytom. I meet Martina Tekel-Raigel. She works with children in Kronika. Agata Tekel is her sister, who is in charge of working with children program in Kronika. And they both are very self-confident. I meet Marcin Wyszowski, who makes one of the best graphic design I've seen. I meet Justina Kravchik, who has a funny necklace with mustache on her neck. Agata Cukierska takes photograph in Kronika. Łukasz Zimczyk helps me to make a video, and he has a nice tenor voice. Łukasz Jastrubczak, I invite him to Turku where he made his performance with Markku Peltola, with the Finnish actor who died 3 years ago. I meet Małgorzata Mazur, who is a girlfriend of Łukasz, and she shoots my video. I meet Radoslav Zvionk, who puts a black flag on top of a chimney. I meet Piotr Haida, who shows me the way to the underground of Bytom. I meet Marcin Mazurowski, the photographer who was working as a professional soldier in Yugoslavia. I meet Maciej Maszak, he doesn't talk to me. Gosia Latusek doesn't talk to me. Agnieszka Skowronek works as an administrator in the Bytom Cultural Foundation. And she has a break every day, 15:04, when the internet collapses in the office. I meet Maria Przybyłek in Bobrek. She doesn't have a mobile phone. I meet Brigida Volny. Volny means free. Irena Krull means king. She complains that buses and trucks are passing her house every night so much that it trembles on her walls and she can't sleep. Irena Viskia is a bit crazy. Barbara Dzieran is a teenager. Sandra Dziewieczka complains that Bobrek has no swimming pool, no school, Bobrek has no culture house, Bobrek has no cinema, Bobrek has no shop, Bobrek has no library, but they have lots of problems. Kristina Zelawska talks about times when Bobrek was Bobrek, when work was work. Elżbieta Wujuk doesn't want to draw at all. Janusz Junior Lipiec has a clubhouse in the basement and they make hip-hop. Krzysztof Lipiec is Janusz's brother and speaks very good English. David Sarnacki is very suspicious of me being an artist from Finland. Anja Papierzanska works with papers in the administration. Alexandra Stokos doesn't live in Bytom and likes cafes in Bytom. Łukasz Suroviec makes one of the best works in the Berlin Biennale with birch trees from Oswiecim, Auschwitz, that you can take home. And now, second part of the performance, I would like that Pani Węgiel, Miss Cole, will speak for a moment. Dziękuję Pani. Thank you. And then we will hear some sounds from the coal mine tunnels. And then I will perform a 2-minute clip of post-industrial movement.
Thanks a lot for the performance, Tero, or excerpts or whatever it was from your performance.
Sorry?
Yes, but now, until now, listen, you have had an easy task. Now it's going to be a bit more difficult. So I'm very much looking forward to what you want to describe, what you've seen.
Should I start?
Yeah, if you feel like it.
Well, then I'll just try to see what we were seeing. Here, we were witnessing something that was right from the beginning critical upon itself, and it asked us to be critical towards itself. It started by saying, first of all, or maybe before it started to speak, there was, of course, a beginning where we could not know if it had started again, or if maybe the performer was back, if he was a lecturer, because this was the first time where something was presented in the genre that we is known like staged lectures, which appeared some 15, 20 years ago maybe. And this presented itself like that. But if it was a lecture, then the performer hadn't prepared himself, so he was not ready yet, maybe. And then it started by telling, immediately making this alienation, Verfremdung. He started speaking Polish. And as far as I could tell, he was talking about the equipment that he was using. Or maybe he was saying the same as he would say afterwards in English, yes. That was why I thought you were referring to equipment, but it was when you said that you were having, he was presenting who he was and what the kind he was, how they were. So artists, they were dangerous because they can do little. This is also a cliche, and it knew it, and then it told something that wasn't true, that they were wearing designer clothes and designer shoes, or maybe it is designer shoes, but the only thing that I recognized was the Mac. Okay, that is true. That was a Mac. And then when it had a 1 hour doubt about what is going on here, or what will happen, and what is it, and how do I deal with my subject, then we had one of his suggestions was that I will steal your life story, or I will tell you mine. And then we had a kind of biography. And this biography, a biography can be many things, because how do you tell a life story? But here, a life consisted in a number of meetings with other people. And to each meeting, something happened or not happened. There was either an action or an identification. Somebody did this. Or they met in Amsterdam, and in Amsterdam the guy he met didn't smoke. Another one didn't have a mobile phone. This is more, it is both something they don't, but this is more about, there's a certain kind of people who but it's almost like it's close to nothing to say that you don't smoke there, this again, where the other performances worked at one thing at a time. Here there was many levels at one time. There was, while he was lecturing, instead of then each person he met took place as a piece of coal, and there was a connection to throughout the whole thing to industrial times, and the coal and the coal mines are one of the core things from the Industrial Revolution. Coal, so in that sense, it used that to turn people into pieces of coal, but on the same time that they were coal and that he didn't take with his hands, he used his mouth, the one that he's also speaking with, the one he will use to eat. It made it more difficult, but it also had a bigger risk than what he was doing. And all the people he met, they had made an impression on him, and he was changing as a person because his life went on. He became more and more black around the mouth, also maybe he moved everything, but right from the beginning he had taken one piece, the biggest piece of coal, and put it over there. So then when this part 2 was finished, then this one of the people he had met, or maybe not met, because I don't remember. At that point I didn't know if it was one of the persons from the life history or if it was another one. But then it took the consequence of that he had turned people into coal. Because if the people are into coal, then of course they should have not only be told, they should have, in a democratic society, they should have the chance also to speak for themselves. And one of them had, and he was speaking for I don't know how long time, but he had his time to say what he wanted to say, and he said it, and we didn't understand anything. We didn't even hear anything. And then there was also the level with the pictures, and because I had to choose, I was very following you so much that I didn't get all the pictures, but what was obvious was that they had a connection, but it was not, it was maybe related to each of the persons, because the picture changed for each person, but it was not directly related. It seemed that all the pictures had more or less to do with one location, whereas maybe this town in Poland, which is the central town, so this was the only thing that fulfilled what we had been told before, because this was also the only of the performances where we were told what was going to happen. This will be more like a presentation of material. And there was, of course, material here, but the researched material was, first of all, these pictures of rooms, objects, and people, maybe all related to this town, that was either Bytom or Bobrek. But there was a time before the time where the world and performances became so complex as they are now. There was a time where a performance was just a fucking performance, and where Bobrek was Bobrek, and yeah, and everything was what they were, and not so fucking complicated. And after this, then came the sound of the coal mine, and what I heard, and what most of you heard, I think, was first of all the sound that is left when you stop. There was when the picture stopped, but then it takes some time for a projector to stop. So we heard the projector stopped, and then we heard a piece of music inspired by a piece of music by John Cage. We heard what was left in the room. And then, as the culmination of this performance, we really had performance art, because then there would be 2 minutes of post-industrial movement. And it has a lot to do with coal. Again, we're not in the coal age, and this town in Poland, possibly a coal mine town, and what is happening with these people after in the post-industrial society. And we saw maybe an incarnation of one of those, and it was beginning as a dance, but it was if it was going to show something. He said it was a post-industrial, so it was a kind of representation of a human being or something in the post-industrial society, and it was clearly that this person, if that was a human being, it was a person who had some problems. We didn't know if they were physical or if they were mental, possibly both. And at a certain point, he had also the crisis. There would be a crisis, and the crisis didn't lead to the total collapse. There was a bit of regaining of life. Maybe there will be a life after this. We don't know, because the time was out, and the music was a kind of post-industrial music. You know, it was not Einstürzendes Neubauten or something. It was more. I saw that, of course, there was an iPod, but I was very not sure if what we actually heard was coming from the iPod or just from a misconnection of one of the doors. I guess so. So this is what we saw, and I don't come and tell me that I'm accusing anyone.
What did you feel? This was what you saw.
What I felt.
What did you felt?
Oh, this is the only thing I didn't talk about. What he felt,
no, what
and
you
what
felt.
he thought.
What
yeah, what I felt. Well, now we're getting personal.
That's the meaning, man.
You mean I've been taking so much space that now at least.
Can you make it short?
I felt excited. I didn't feel love, or I wasn't seduced either. I didn't want to make love with him afterwards, and I did not want not to make love with him afterwards. I think that I was, and even though he was using his body much, I was inspired, and not. It was my spirit that was set into motion, my consciousness.
Yes, and I have to say how fond I am of having you here. It's really enlightening the performance. You're seeing a lot of stuff in the performance that I don't see. So.
Yes, I agree completely.
Yes. So thanks a lot, at least for that. I don't want to make it the end just for now. Thanks a lot for doing that. It's really opening stuff up. I don't know how to continue from there, but maybe one thing that differs Tero from the rest of the performance we see today is that Tero is in kind of doing artistical research connection to the university. He's not purely an artist, but doing it very much as research. So he has put up, and correct me if I'm wrong, this research project into what is capitalism today compared to 20 years ago in Poland, what has happened to capitalism, and then again the prospect of not turning it into documentary or using it as such, but more as a philosophically, Christopher, help me out. Philosophical question of how to deal with it today as a person or as a performance. So I see the performance much more on that level, dealing with those questions about what is actually capitalism today, how to deal with it. And the coal mine is, of course, that is a kind of starting point for this work, which is, if there's any documentary left over from the source of this thing, it is the coal, the pure coal, the material.
Why not the pictures? And the names?
Also, probably. I didn't really get the connection to Africa.
I have one connection. That was that one of the people he met came from Africa. But that's not true. But I thought that. That was what I thought.
Good.
But there is one thing that maybe the risk of questioning yourself so much is that your questioning yourself will take so much space that a lot of people maybe that is also a positive, but it could also be a negative thing, that people would say, yeah, okay, yes, but what then are you doing there? Okay, I saw your performance, but what is it you're doing in Poland, and what are you researching on? And because if he had used the traditional lecture, then he would told that since 2002 I've been living in Bytom and I've been researching, I've been following certain people, and we would have known the form. Like if you read a newspaper, they all the journalists, they use the same box where they put all their information.
I like this because this is
I'm
quicker.
accusing the journalists.
So this is quicker. I mean, he did it only in 20 minutes. He sort of basically, I mean, I think, you know, with a little bit of background, you know, you can get pretty much what he's doing, and then, you know, yeah, it's in some ways more efficient what he did. He's got all of that content, all of that meaning, and all of that sort of implied history is sort of conveyed, I would say, and it's quicker than if you did it as a performance lecture, and you know, if you really went into details into research, it would just take longer.
Thank you very much for your performance. What really mesmerized me, that really hooked me, is this mix of crazy and a kind of normal presentation, you know. You see people sit there, you look at my PowerPoint, motherfuckers. At the same time, when you are moving the code with your mouth, that is no human being doing that except the foot and the foot and mouth painters. They do that. But normal people with arms and legs don't do that. I really, this kind of mix in a very structural, normal way, it really mesmerized me in that sense. Of course, I want to ask, what the fuck does a Finn do in Poland, going through this question, the research that you do? Of course, I recognize some of the names, Thomas Rahman and stuff like that. So kind of the rest of the names, I wanted to understand who they were, but it wasn't important.
But practical, I mean, it's a list of all the Polish people you've met, is it not?
Basically, yeah. I mean,
but wasn't it Russian? I thought it was Russian you spoke. Was it Polish?
Polish.
I think overseas Polish, right?
Sorry?
Overseas Polish.
Finland.
Overseas Polish.
Polish.
Like Polish who have been migrated to other countries.
Some, yes.
Yeah.
No, but it's chronologically, all the Polish people you've met in your life, more or less, I guess.
It's more or less. Mostly people, I mean, there are much more, but I didn't put any, like, close relatives. I didn't want to start a conversation about my...
Isn't it?
You didn't want to be private, but no one would have noticed if you had put it private.
But yeah, saying this, like the only Polish people are doing, isn't it more than about just your internal memory and projecting your self-identity and your chronological order, like only from within yourself, rather than reflecting so much on these kind of industries?
If I can start now answering it. No, they are, in a way, it's true. They could be anybody. I could put there and say that Artus Mijewski, which I never met, but it's like, in a way, it's. But they are. It's true. They're listed in chronological order, and they're most of the people, which actually the first person is Finnish, because it's kind of the key Polish thing. They are the reason for doing this was when I was presenting my work in academic circles. People always ask me the question, why the fuck Poland? What's for Poland? And then I wanted to put this kind of autobiographical connection that there's this, which for me is also important for the research. What is the place in research with personal connection with the subject matter, which is now post-industrial Poland? If I would do anthropology, well, maybe nowadays not anymore in anthropology, but I would kind of have to distance myself from the matter. But now I feel they are important, and for you, it's fiction. I mean, some of the names connect Thomas Rama, or you pick something else, but they don't really mean anything. But maybe that's why they give few attributes, which are quite common, kind of mundane in a way, that he smokes and then next place he doesn't smoke. Why? And
but so there are also people who teach you about something.
Yes,
you know, you always break it is not only the unimportant thing,
no.
There are also things that could make, there's one who became your wife.
Yeah.
Because that's not like not smoking. How that's it.
No, actually, all the names, it's like, for me, I mean, this is something which often is not, I don't talk much, but they're actually people that I feel kind of, I would use the word gratitude, that they are very close connections, and or it might have been just a very brief moment. When you ask about the Africa, it's like, that's just one kind of out. On the images, I'll tell briefly that some of them are not directly connected to the place and not to the people, but they are connected more in this general question of post-industrial capitalism. He's a gasoline smuggler in Benin that I met, and he's doing basically the same thing that some people are doing in Bytom, maybe different stuff, but basically people working on black market for. So that's why, and he's first because the slides just going alphabetical order.
I didn't think about black market, but of course you mentioned some things, and of course, and the coal is black, and then I'm but I felt, I would say that I felt something. First of all, I was deeply touched when you said that I married her, because then suddenly something becomes fatal. Love, Hollywood, and then also this, which is typical Polish and Eastern European. This is the old times, and we drink some vodka. We talk about the times where Bobrek was Bobrek, and was this, it is not anymore. It's nostalgia.
Just answer to that question, that okay, the Bobrek is a suburb in Bytom, and it is one of the.
Very connected, yeah.
You can find it in some old. There's one documentary about from 1949 about the area. It's kind of famous area in Poland because it used to be the heartland of like hardcore industrial labor, and now that's.
Isn't that just one of the kind of characters in the story, and you make like all these connections that form like they begin at one point, and you make all these connections that go on to another point, and you see everything happening again, and going from that, you form new connections with the same stones, with the same people that go to another place. So it's the same connections that happen from one place, transformed into another, and then again transformed into another. So it's from like 1998, something like that, and to 2009. Where did you start? Like now, maybe?
Now,
yeah. So now, so it's only 3 points that really matter, and the only thing that you're describing is the connection between these high points, you know, where everything gathers together. So, you know, about Bobrek and stuff like that, I mean, that's only one character that has some connection, like in the story. And in this transformation, you will dirty yourself, you will take in all these influences by these people. You will hear what they have to say, and they will affect you in that way that you will get kind of dirty and black. and like influence your mind in maybe some ways that you don't like? Or?
Yeah.
I was just wondering on that point of the thing about almost digesting people. I mean, you digested some models earlier on, and I mean, there's a theme also in contemporary art about cannibalism as a way of like taking in a culture and digest it and spit it out, like, brah. I mean, is the theme making, well, those actions connect with you, or the things you're doing, like physically?
Yeah, I think what you said, it relates. When I write, I use this one simple English word, this one concept. It's called contamination. That I think the culture works through contamination. That it's like you're contaminated, and that makes me me. I mean, I'm this because of all this mess, and like life is dirty. It makes you dirty, and it's, I never really kind of specifically work with cannibalism in that sense, but rather with contamination and this.
I think you would call it anthropophagus or anthropophagism.
Yeah.
That you like digest like a culture as a person.
But that's something is when you mentioned the word one, like artist like Lydia Clark is something which I'm very fascinated of her, like process of working with therapy and art, and this eating and spitting, and it's more of also other aspect. There is something that is the comfort zone that you cross all the comfort zone, and then what happens? And I think meeting a new person always requires crossing a comfort zone, kind of getting a bit contaminated, the person's smells. But other aspect with that was that in Finland when we meet, we don't kiss on cheeks, but in Poland they do. So I should basically kiss them twice, all of them. But that's the kind of, so there is the sense of, I don't know, for me there was some sense of sensuality touching these people through this black coal, which is organic material. It's just all wood. So.
No. It's dinosaurs, for God's sake. Come on, man. No, but concerning material, it's a lack of material knowledge what we are using today. But I really like this the thing that when you put the coal on one table, and you are kind of, for me that was kind of what you are doing. Now when I heard that you are researching, this is what researchers are, is all these small things, and when the other part on the other table, when you said, let's hear what the other speaker, it was like some kind of presidential debate for me, you know, but another researcher, and we listened to that stone, and we couldn't hear a fuck. But you showed us with these small stones, that had the same size, approximately, like the other one, but we couldn't understand that. We couldn't, there was no research on that stone, which I really liked much. But no, coal is dinosaur legs.
Well, concerning the connection between, or some kind of similarities between the two work, I also kind of saw this connection with the mouth, but also like when you started to talk about that artists are kind of like exploding other people because they're using them as materials, and like how you used us as materials in order to make your own work, and both our oral work or whatever you can call this kind of process, that I saw the similarity there. And I think kind of the mood of the whole work for me was kind of ambivalent, because I think it was it was a bit ironic about himself, about artists or intellectuals, but at the same time there was some tragic sense in it for me, and also when you know there was this and he or she doesn't talk to me anymore, and she doesn't talk to me anymore either, which was, you know, it's kind of funny to hear it like that, but at the same time, if you think a bit more about it, it's really sad. And also when you had this thing that now the coal is talking, I also had this, you know, it can be actually really funny, but for me it was also more like, you know, I think the atmosphere you created did not make me wanna think that it's kind of a joke. It was, but it could be also interpreted in this way because the whole thing was so ambivalent. And also your dance, I think it was also very much like full of anxiety, but at the same time I had this connection of a harlequin, also because you had this kind of painting in your mouth and you made some movements which were like if there were, you know, some ropes that were moving you. So yeah, again, the figure of a harlequin, which is also a tragicomical figure, I connected very much to this kind of atmosphere with your work.
As I said, when we planned this evening, we have 3 performances. They will all be about 15-20 minutes. And we will talk a bit about the performance. In the end, we could sit for an hour and try to compare it and talk about the performance in general. But we have actually had 3 very good discussions this evening. At least thanks to you, participants, and thanks to Nielsen. So we have already had 3 very good discussions. We could, of course, try to reach the next level and try to compare the 3 performances, but I'm not sure it would bring anything. The works were all great works, all good researched and proper works, but they're very different, and it would take at least another hour and more beer and snaps to really fit them together. We could try to do that, and I would recommend that we try to do that at Bobby Bar later on. But for now, I think it's simply too much. I'm very glad that we had these discussions about works. I'm glad we have Nielsen. I'm glad we have Ørn, that we have Janne, that we have Tero. Good works, good discussions, and it's been a lovely evening. It's been so nice having you here. It's been so nice hearing what you had to say. I would have loved to continue it, but yes, I think it is time to go home or go to movie bar.
Nice to be here. Thank you.
Thank you. Still got one. Ja, det var stærkt der.
Lad det klare stående, eller hvad?